Okay, hello everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. I know it's very, very hot and I'm very surprised everyone is still awake. I'm Raman. I am hosting this lovely panel today. I'm ex-Marks and Spencer, Speedo, Claire's Accessories, Toolstation, so very much from a digital retail background. And today we are joined by our panelists, so I'll let them introduce themselves.
Hi there, I'm Eugene. I'm product lead at Holland Barrett, looking after digital experience across website, mobile app, and stores.
Hi everybody, my name is Jad, and I'm leading the analytics team at Sweaty Betty. So all analytical work and AI, I handle it and make sure that the AI is deployed across all the organization.
Hi, I'm Seb. I was at Coke until a few months ago, and I'm currently in between jobs. But yeah, my background is mainly digital and e-commerce marketing.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, guys. So today's panel is all about AI. We've had lots of chats today about the power of AI, and especially today we're going to talk about e-commerce measurement when it comes to AI. So I think let's start off by discussing, should we be using AI or should we not be using AI? Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I think I can kick off. So it's a good question because currently AI is a buzzword. So firstly and foremost things, you need to understand, do you actually need AI? Will it help your business? Will it help your customers or not? So yeah, before that, analyze the use cases, check your data, if it's reliable, because sometimes AI can bring more harm rather than good. So, yeah.
I have a different view. I think you need to start using AI. In most use cases, AI can drive some value, and you need to go through stages of piloting and experimentation to determine how AI is going to deliver value. And when we speak about AI, we either speak about machine learning, which is like predicting metrics that we care about, which is a more complex solution, or we speak about Gen AI, and Gen AI is the use case is very broad, and in order to deliver economical value next year, you need to go through stages of experimenting, piloting, and building those internal capabilities. The only use case where I don't think AI can deliver value is when you're making a decision in a situation with high level of uncertainty. And this is where machine learning will not be able to provide any value because you don't have any historical data, and you're better off making that decision using your intuition. That's one of the use cases where I think AI will not derive any value because you're dealing with a high level of uncertainty.
Yeah, I think right now AI is covering so many fields outside just marketing. So of course we have Gen AI, but again, if we're going into sales, you can have predictive AI for supply chain optimization and more around agents and so on. So I guess the approach is more a test and learn approach, I guess, what we need to think about. So, what are the boundaries in terms of what can AI provide? Of course, there's a lot of hallucinations. So again, this is why the human impact aspect is quite important. But also the other bit is around legal and privacy. So, how keen and how likely are we to give data to these big AI providers like ChatGPT or Gemini? So I guess it's a balance to have, but yeah, the most important for me, it's really to test and learn and see what can we do and then scale the approach.
Yeah, that's great. And I think going into that is, let's be honest, because AI is such a buzzword now and everyone's talking about it, realistically, especially with the SLT teams, managing resistance to AI, there's a lot of uncertainty. We've still got lots of, we're going to talk about, I don't want to give all the information we're going to talk about, but how do you manage resistance in teams, especially senior leadership teams, when it comes to AI?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. So when it comes to AI, like SLT, once they heard it, that they wanted to implement everywhere, literally. And as I said, it shouldn't be just, all right, let's use it everywhere. So as Jad said, there is a high level of uncertainty in some areas, and at Holland Barrett in particular, if we start driving customer-facing AI chatbots who potentially that can suggest you some vitamins like and to have some supplements, etc., it can be considered as a medical advice. So there is a borderline between medical advice and there is a huge risk for a business in general. Like if there is something bad happens, it will be bad for the business.
I agree. Like I think resistance can take different forms. The first one is fear. So people are less likely to adopt a new technology that they don't understand or they fear. And this is where I recommend that the first use case should be an educational use case rather than productivity or cost saving. And we start seeing patterns. So when you start introducing simple use case, the team will go through stages. The first stage is fear, then the second stage is curiosity, and the final stage is excitement. But it's very important to start with something simple. Don't start with something very complex. I've done many mistakes where I've deployed very complex machine learning models that only myself can understand and no one else understands, and now no one uses it. So it's very important to start simple and do educational use cases. Another thing that can help with education is assign AI champions in every function, and they will provide support on the ground. They will teach other team members to start adopting AI, and those tactics will help. The second form of resistance that I found is skepticism. So I tend to see a lot of stakeholders are skeptical whether the AI can deliver any tangible values. Now, there are different ways to deal with that. The first one is you need to figure out who is excited about AI and have them rally behind, and like use a political momentum, have them rally behind so that it shows like social proof to skeptical stakeholders that it will likely deliver tangible value. For Gen AI, in some cases, it's fair to say that it may not deliver tangible value, and this is where going through piloting and experimentations might help. But to do piloting, the team should start submitting business cases, right, for their functions, for their use cases. And if they know that the process is lengthy, like the approval process is going to be lengthy, then they're less likely to do it. So you need to also reduce the bureaucratic barriers, so it facilitates people to start submitting use cases and have them approved. And this is where I think like having a AI innovation fund that can make it much easier for the team to submit use case and get them approved fast. And finally, one thing that I've noticed is that when people start using Gen AI, they tend to do it in secret because they are afraid that they're gonna get some negative consequences from the senior leadership, or because we want to show that our work is solely our own and not using AI. And this is where it's important that senior leaders, they need to encourage their team to use AI often. And sometimes I ask senior leaders to tell their team that they are themselves using AI. So we can ask executives to tell the team that they use an AI for strategic planning. I sometimes, when I present an analysis, I say, okay, AI has helped me do that analysis. And that signals to the team that it's okay to use AI. We would like to encourage you to use AI internally so that the team start using it. And it's not only about using it, it's about using it often and using it well. So having a really important understanding how to do good prompts is important, because that's how you get like the best output. And when it comes to complex solutions like machine learning models, you need to start from the beginning, from the initial project, and show them what's under the hood and show them how AI is making those recommendations or making those decisions so that they can understand. And then that will increase the likelihood of adoption.
Yeah, I think I will echo most of what you just said. So I guess the way I see it, it's all, of course, about building capabilities internally, so making sure that we are demystifying the myth around AI, so it's not going to take your job. It means that we should be all prompt engineers. That's something we can discuss about. But again, it's really making sure that every department are on the same level. So I've seen some structure where you have an AI team that is looking after the overall AI investment, or whether it's delegated by a specific team. You have your marketing team that will be more looking after Gen AI, other teams more looking after predictive AI. So again, structure-wise, it's based on the organization. But the last bit, I guess, it's more of a leadership by example. So at Coke, for instance, the CEO is always talking about AI as part of our approach. So at every town hall, for instance, so if this is coming from the CEO, I guess this makes the adoption a little bit better from over C-suite, but also from other departments and local markets as well. So yeah, leadership and capabilities for me are the two big factor for success.
Okay, great. So we've talked about structure, we've talked about case studies. Now let's talk about how we use AI day to day. So I think one of the big conversations that we've had before is how we use AI for content. Do you want to kind of go into that in a bit further detail?
Yeah, sure. So about the use cases, actually, so we leverage AI in operations massively, and in our content creation, and also in our customer support. Basically optimizing SEO, optimizing descriptions here for App Store and Play Store. So these kind of low-risk use cases, and as Jad said and Seb as well. So once we identify these low-risk use cases, we try to share it with the teams, and with marketing teams, with business teams as well, just to show that, look, guys, we actually found something useful. And we have internal tools built by our data team with prompts already ingested into that tool. So you need just to type the text, and magically, that good SEO text, good description appears, or good answer for customer support team appears for some complaints, for instance. Basically, and about the content, we're just in the beginning of our journey. Mostly it's like texts, SEO descriptions, and customer support use cases.
Great. Seb, from your perspective, especially at Unilever, in regards to bringing AI in-house, how did that kind of go in regards to how we have AI learning and not using general ChatGPT, but bringing it internally?
So that would be at Coca-Cola.
I know, but previously when you were working with Dev, he was...
So no, at Coke, again, if we sign a multi-billion deal with Microsoft and, of course, getting ChatGPT, so it's about bringing it in-house. I think the main reason is to keep the data secure so that it doesn't go outside. So yeah, I had the opportunity really to use it a little bit across the board, from campaign creation, campaign ideation, and also that was a good opportunity, let's say, to cut the production time, but also through technology like Dragonfly, for instance, we managed to get our asset testing in quite early, compared if we were going to the traditional route of sending your assets to focus group, etc. So yeah, the business is looking at it not just from a creative perspective, but again looking at sales planning, supply chain planning, so to the wider extent, yeah.
Great. And Jad, from your perspective, regards to data mining and AI, how has that been in your experience?
I think the first challenge, or the key challenge that I tend to see all the time is data quality. And the solution is not how to solve data quality, the solution is who needs to solve it. It's not the data team, no one wants to do it. So the analyst doesn't want to do it, the data science doesn't want to do it. So this is where it's good to have a good, robust data governance where you've established clear lines of responsibility that who needs to check what. So that's really important when it comes to ensuring that you have data quality, especially if you're deploying like an ML model where it relies heavily on having like robust data. When it comes to data mining, if you have a big data warehouse and you have thousands of tables and each tables have thousands of columns, it's really hard to find the data that you need. And this is where data discoverability comes into play. So what I've done is I've downloaded all of the the description of every table and every column, and I've deployed an AI. And then whenever I have a question to ask, like an analysis, I just simply ask the AI, how can I answer that question? And it will tell me you can get that data from this table, from that table. So that's another use case that you could use. Can I also share some use case about content?
Go for that.
So I haven't seen any AI that can deliver like really good content when it comes to performance marketing ads, like campaign ads, because if you're working with an enterprise, they probably have really good studio team, they do really good creative, but one use case that we're using AI is for conceptualization. So now to win in performance marketing, the more creative has 60-70% impact on your performance. So the more creative you test, the higher the likelihood you're gonna figure out which creative is gonna win. And to test a lot, you need to produce a lot. So we go through like a stage of conceptualization, production, experimentation, and then iteration. And once we do this every other week, you're gonna face a creative block problem. So this is where you can use AI for conceptualization. And the creative team will need to start deploy different prompts to figure out how to get the best output from the AI. And they don't simply need to design, but they need to figure out the limitation and also the advantages of each AI that they're using for different concepts. A third use case when it comes to content is each creative ad that we're using in our campaign has different, like, you can assign computer vision AI to assign different labels to every ad. So the AI will spot that you're using a blue and yellow background or using a model in outdoors. So all of these labels, you can put them into an AI and it can analyze and it can figure out what combination of labels are driving good performance. And final use case. Last one, this is something that I'm striling and I'm tinkering with, is we get like thousands of consumer feedback every month. And those feedback you can learn a lot from those feedback about customers. So product reviews, social media, all of these. And this is where we start to discover how we can use AI for psychographic marketing, which means that if I get a feedback from a customer that tells me, I loved your product, I use it for my morning run, but I'm concerned about the quality and I think it's expensive. So the AI will assign 4 labels, like she does morning run, she has concerns about the quality, but also she's cost-conscious consumer. And then what I do is I push those labels into MarTech, where I can create an audience, and then I start doing hyper-personalization communication based on those labels. So one thing that we've done is we group people that do morning runs, and we start sending them emails saying, oh, we know that you do morning runs, so this is the products that we could recommend. So I think like fundamentally AI is going to be super helpful when it comes to doing hyper-personalization journeys.
Yeah, maybe just to add about the customer reviews, etc. So yeah, we also leverage a third-party tool which does it for us, which is called Chattermill. Basically, this tool aggregates all of the sources of reviews. It could be Zendesk, Trustpilot, App Store reviews, Play Store reviews. We use Get Feedback as well. So website reviews, like website forms, it aggregates everything into one, and then it creates different segmentation. You can even ask this tool, all right, last week we got conversion rate down. Can you describe why? And basically it filters out all of the reviews regarding the conversion rate, tries to understand what is the root cause of this, and give you the answer. So this is quite powerful, and it creates different graphs on net sentiment, CSATs. Our product team uses daily, because customer feedback is the most important parts of your job eventually.
I agree. This is a really good use case, and I think a lot of the companies that get a lot of product reviews, it's really important that to deploy that use case. And we've deployed it internally because we wanted to show all of the skeptical stakeholders what are the main consumer pain points And sometimes when I show an analysis that show what is the consumer pain points, they don't believe me because they're skeptical, because it's gonna affect their work. So this is why having an unbiased AI that analyzes consumer pain points and show to all of the organization what are the main key issues that we need to solve as a team. The second thing what I've done is the AI will able to recognize those problems and measure them over time. So it creates a robust measurement solution that you can integrate into performance reviews. So imagine that you have a quality problem, product quality problem, and the way to measure it is through an AI that can measure consumer feedback and see how many consumer feedback you're getting about product quality over time. And the team will start working on those solutions, and then they can prioritize it because you have implemented that robust measurement KPIs into their performance reviews. So that is a really important use case to do, especially if you want to adopt like a consumer-obsessed culture.
Great. I think hyper-personalization and then having that whole funnel in place to kind of trial and test. I think a lot today has been talking about reiterating, testing and learning and going forward. And I think, especially from an omni-channel perspective, having that LinkedIn of messaging and just being able to kind of fill the dots is really important. It's a great chat there. I think the last bit of this is to really talk about the future of AI. Where do we see it going? And also, what are the risks and what we need to really look out for as well?
Yeah, for sure. I think, the future, of course, there is a bright future for AI, right? Currently it's everywhere, and we see every day it's evolving, like even more than yesterday, right? I see risks, of course, with data privacy, and there is a pros and cons, frankly, compare like Europe versus the US. Well, like in Europe, like there is GDPR law, e-directive, right? So like e-privacy directive, etc. And like every day there is like they add in something more. From one side, it's good because we care about our data. We don't want like machine learning models learn based on our data. By the way, like LinkedIn silently they just enabled a like feature that collects all the data about you and train LinkedIn models based on your data. So it's just enabled automatically for everybody. This concerns me because we need to have control over our data.
Absolutely.
But overall, I think we need to find more and more use cases how to optimize our work within content, within customer service, like with customer-facing features. Like, of course, like with some caveats that's health data and health advice should still sit with humans, right? But overall, operations and optimization of our work, this is the future.
Absolutely.
So a couple of thoughts from my side about the future, especially when it comes to the future in the workplace. So I start seeing people how they're using AI. So one of them is using GPT voice whilst they're working. So whilst they're working on the laptop, they start using voice and speaking to it, because now the future is going to be like those AI is going to have PhD level reasoning. So you can definitely reason with it. We start seeing that junior levels are using it more often than exec level, because the exec level are not getting that good substance from AI, but this is going to change. And what I will start seeing is that we're going to bring AI to every meeting, where it's going to analyze our communication and diagnose the problems that we're facing often. One thing is good about Gen AI is can analyze unstructured data. What I mean by unstructured data means that like all of your PowerPoint presentation, all of your video transcription, this can be analyzed. And if you are part of the trade meeting every week and you have meeting transcription and PowerPoint decks, it can analyze it and tell you what are the consistent problems that we are unable to resolve as a team.
I think that's really nice, because you could say that's a supplement to your role rather than it being a threat all the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just the way you receive that, especially in a trade meeting on a weekly basis.
Exactly, and this is why every meeting I just have AI to record it and transcribe it, because I can analyze it and I can show a data-driven way to execs team what are the internal collaboration challenges that we need to resolve. One thing that I start seeing in marketing is I start thinking that we're going to start recruit more generalists than specialists, especially in performance marketing. So when Facebook ads, Google ads, now we can simply click a button and you will launch a campaign within a matter of minutes. We don't need that specialist to really build that campaign, and that process used to take a long time, used to be very manual, but now we start to see that we can get one person that do Facebook ads, Google ads, do creative. So I think there's going to be a tendency to recruit more generalists in marketing than specialists. The second thing is, I believe creative people, when they're gonna start using Gen AI, different Gen AI, so they need to figure out which Gen AI works better for them. So they need to explore different tools, and they need to start doing more prompts rather than actually designing. So I think creative people will need to master prompt engineering. And the third thing I think I will start seeing is what's going to happen to entry-level marketeers, where all of the repetitive work is being done by AI, all of the manual work is being done by AI. What are they going to do in that case? I think we will need to. I think there will be more demand for critical thinkers, entry-level marketeers. They will need to analyze data. They will need to do critical thinking of when they need to step in and stop the automation and do it themselves. So those are the things that I foresee that's happening within an organization.
And I think just to add to that, sorry, so because I think also becoming product owners of like a product like Midjourney, or becoming someone that is a product champion of an AI product is definitely where it's going as well. There's a lack of resource for that, so it's definitely something. If a new marketer is entering the market, that's a new way of actually developing your skill and your knowledge.
That's a really good idea, by the way.
Seb?
And I guess for me, there are two things that we've already discussed. It's about the privacy bit. So we've heard recently Snowflake's being hacked. So all these providers being able to secure our data that we are providing them. So that's more on the IT side. And I guess for a bit, it's more about, I think there's a good segment on the Daily Show last week about AI. We all now have an assistant, which is AI.
Yeah.
So is our job in the future going just to be prompt engineers? So how are we going to differentiate, what we are doing versus what AI is doing? So I guess, of course, there's hallucination right now. So again, you can still validate some of the things, but yeah, I think that will be something, to think about. And again, recently I've heard some companies that are, unfortunately firing people, and they've used the AI word as, AI will going to improve our productivity, while these people don't have a clue what AI is. So that can be an excuse for, for anything and everything.
Hope not. Okay.
Yeah, maybe just one more interesting case about the future of AI and what happens right now. So in Asia, so like everybody knows, like avatars that actually do live streaming and like sell something live streaming. So it's social commerce. It's called social commerce. And in Asia right now, it's like very expensive to hire some celebrity to sell goods, like via live stream. So some of the companies currently, they create avatars that looks exactly like celebrities or similar to them. They put them to live streaming, and those AI characters sell goods via live stream. And moreover, those characters and like AI models, they can analyze all of the incoming comments and respond in live time, like instantly. So yeah, this some of the interesting use cases.
It's an episode of Black Mirror there.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone, for joining the panel today. Are there any questions that anybody would like to ask? I can see one at the back.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, thank you very much for the insightful conversation. So I see a lot of people talking about AI, which is mostly the end result of it. But then within an organization, what would you say are the building blocks to AI? So how can an organization say, well, I'm ready for AI, and how can I utilize it now?
Yeah, great question. And maybe, as we talked before about the use cases, So start with simple use case. For instance, what we find really useful is analyzing our team meetings. You know, so we have Microsoft Teams, Microsoft Copilot, and also internal tool. Just transcribe the meeting and then put it into AI, and then get the summary of the meeting, get action points. When you start doing this, everybody notices. So they notice, wow, it's actually really useful, and we shouldn't leverage our AI, like AI to create chatbots that suggest some vitamins to customers, right? Which is very risky. We can start with very, very low risk internal use cases, and once you get one use case, second, third use case false, then the mind, like the culture of using AI, like creates in the organization, and then yeah, you can come up with second level and third level cases which are more risky, but still, yeah, it's good for the business.
I'd add to that by saying one way that I used it was looking at ad fatigue, and we had lots of banners and marketing collateral that we could create, but actually it wasn't converting. So looking at a particular ad set and then using AI to kind of leverage some of its tools, we were quite quickly to see the ROI and the ROAS increased. So I think it's even just looking at an experiment on an ad or something quite small that you could show the impact quite quickly as well. Any other questions?
Thank you. You know, we talk about AI, you know, like what are the tools in particular that you're using? Like what are the apps, or like AI is AI, you know, there are so many tools out there. What are you using to analyze your ads you mentioned there, by the way, sorry.
Yeah. So some of the ads, AI bits I've used was through Microsoft and through Midjourney. So Midjourney, if you don't know, it creates lots of images for you. So you kind of write in what you actually want, and it creates the visuals for you. It does take a lot of prompts. I think one thing we have covered, but not very much in detail, is having specific prompts for AI, so it's really clear, and you have that verification. So yeah, I use Midjourney, Microsoft. Anything in particular you want to say as well?
So what I've done is I provided access to GPT teams to analysts and developers, because we've seen that it improves their productivity by 3 times. The marketeers, we provided access to Claude AI. It attempts to write better content, better human content, like content that looks like human written it. I'm using I'm working with a startup called In-Situ for creative ads analytics. I'm also deploying open source models like Llama and see what I can get from it, because there's no privacy concerns with those, especially when it comes to sensitive data.
Jasper AI is really good as well.
Jasper AI for copywriting is very good as
good.
well. And what else? And then this is where we start deploying open source model for machine learning. This is where you need good analytics capabilities and good data science capabilities.
Ad creative AI is good for ads as well. So.
Yeah, I personally use perplexity.ai for search.
Yeah,
I think it's recent trend. Literally everybody started using it because, yeah, for product strategy, for any kind of research, it gives you instant answer. It's just super bold. And as I said, for customer feedback, we use Chattermill. Yeah, there are of course enterprise licenses, but I believe there could be some free trial.
He said Perplexity. Before that, which one did you say?
Chattermill.
Chattermill, yeah, the second one, but yeah. Perplexity for search, perplexity.ai.
Any other questions? Okay. Are you getting lots of questions?
This is just a question for Jad. You just spoke about getting AI champions within different teams. I really like that idea. How did you navigate that with some of the teams that did just think of AI as a fearful concept and not something that they wanted to be a part of or support?
I think he has got one.
So just to understand, you're saying, how did I navigate assigning AI champions, especially when there's people who are resisting AI? Did I get it correctly?
Yeah, exactly.
So what I've done is I've sent an email to all of the company saying, we're testing a new product, and we're looking for AI champions who will want to learn that product and want to introduce it to their teams. And trust me, a lot of people sign up. It seems that especially junior, entry-level, or mid-level people, they want to learn about AI, but they're afraid to say, I want to learn about AI for some reason, or they don't have the opportunity then at home to learn about AI. So I've had a huge list of people who wants to be AI champions, and that has, at first, I got like an early adopters, and then what I start seeing is that more people start signing up because they were able to see the benefit that other people are getting from becoming AI champions. And what I've done is I made sure that I gave them access to a couple of training courses like LinkedIn Learning and Data Camp and all of that. So that's an additional incentive to give to the AI champions. And another thing, I asked the SLT, the executive team, to share positive things about becoming AI champions. So that signals to the whole of the organization that we need to start learning more about it.
Great answer. Any further questions? No? Okay, I have one question before we finish. When has AI not worked? Has there been a point where it hasn't worked or hasn't given the results that you actually hoped it would?
Two things. I think when dealing with a complex situation that require like good reasoning, I haven't found like a good AI that can reason well. Maybe it's getting better now. Another thing is that what I said is when dealing with a situation with high level of uncertainty, we don't have a lot of data. You're better off using your own intuition. It's more likely going to get better results than doing like sophisticated machine learning. So the thing is that we have a tendency to believe that if we're dealing with a complex problem with high uncertainty, then we need a complex solution. I tend to disagree. I think we need a simple solution and rely on intuition because I've seen that we get better results when we use our intuition in high level of uncertainty.
Yeah, I would say also I would add bad data cases. So yeah, if you have bad data, broken data, which is just impossible to structure, better to do some cleaning up exercise prior using AI.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining, and thank you, everyone, for coming to listen.